everybody? Welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm actually here to present a fan casting. Now, spoiler alert, John Krasinski has been the number one choice, has been the A guy that everyone has wanted to be Mr. Fantastic in the MCU. The new Mr. Fantastic, everyone has wanted it to be John Krasinski. Well, clearly Marvel listened, because in Multiverse of Madness, who shows up? None other than John Krasinski as Reed Richards. And it was awesome. I will tell you, it was an awesome thing. When you see it, you're like, oh shit! Like if you're someone like me who knows that stuff, or you who knows that stuff, when you see John Krasinski come out of this square portal with the 4 on his chest, you're just like, oh shit! But like, there was immediately a bit of me that was saddened by it, though. Admittedly, I was saddened by it because it was the realization that if they have him here, they're probably not gonna have him as the actual Reed Richards in our universe. Just because I don't think it'd be, what's the word I'm looking for? As cool to have him show up here already, Reed Richards, we know it, like his powers and everything. And not and then just have him show up in our world, same as is. Like, it kind of would take the sting out of the, oh my gosh, it's the Fantastic Four, when they showed him in an alternate reality. You know what I mean? It'd be like if they had it'd be like if Multiverse of Madness had happened and they had shown, I don't know, fucking Nova for the first time here. It's like, Nova, like, why am I seeing Nova for the first time in a multiversal and somewhere else? It's like, we don't have a Nova in our universe. You know what I mean? So I don't think he's gonna be Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic in the proper MCU, because I don't think they would have done this if he was gonna be. I don't think he would have, and in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if John Krasinski didn't really want to come on board to be like Reed Richards, full-on Reed Richards in a movie in the MCU franchise, but they were able to talk him into doing this because it was just a scene. There's just a couple scenes, 3 minutes of sequences, and come in, pop the fans, have fun, then you could say you were that, you did it. That in a reality, John Krasinski is Mr. Fantastic. But I just don't think they're gonna go from there. It just feels like that was for the fans. That was for the fans. That was for the people in the know. And he is not gonna actually be Reed Richards in the proper MCU. Now, first we need to figure out who the fuck the director's gonna be, but that's a story for another time. I've already put my hat out there for Brad Bird and whatnot, but, we'll see. Now we go back to who is gonna play Reed Richards, and after John Krasinski showed up in Multiverse of Madness, I think he's even less likely to be the Reed Richards in the MCU. And then you gotta kind of go out on a limb, and then you kind of have to start thinking ages, because John Krasinski is about 43 years old, so he's about, he's getting into his mid-40s. You have to start thinking of the age of what they want Reed to be. Reed is usually the elder statesman. He's usually in his 40s, his his early to mid-40s, and Sue's usually in her mid-30s. There's like a 10-year gap between the two. Sue's usually in her mid-30s. Maybe she's in her late 40s, but there's always like a small little age gap between the two. And Johnny and Ben is about the same age. Ben is about the same age, maybe a tiny bit younger than Reed. And Johnny's young. Johnny's like in his mid-20s. Johnny's a young hotshot. So I was sitting here and so this occurred to me while I was watching Ozark. I just started watching Ozark after it just wrapped up its entire series, and everyone's gushing about it. Everyone says this show is amazing, and I love Jason Bateman. Love Jason Bateman. Arrested Development, Horrible Bosses, Zootopia. The list goes on and on and on with films. He was in this one film called The Help. What was it called? The Help? The Gift. That was great, and he was great in that. He directed. There's just one great Jason Bateman movie that no one's ever talked about, but I love, called Bad Words, which was amazing. Jason Bateman is such a great actor to me. He's kind of my epitome of I feel like he's kind of my spirit animal a lot, because his demeanor in a lot of the movies he's in is the demeanor that I have in life in general, which is just kind of this overwhelmed, and sometimes he kind of sways between, depending on who he's supposed to be playing in the movie. He sways between being overwhelmed, this overwhelmed every guy who's just trying to figure shit out, to this guy who is smart, who's the smartest guy in the room. And I'm sitting here watching the first couple episodes of Ozark, and I'm like, you know something? Jason Bateman has every single one of the qualities that would make a perfect Mr. Fantastic. And it just like, because even his humor is something that would be totally different to the MCU. There's a lot of funny people in the MCU, a lot of funny people, but Jason Bateman's humor is kind of it's not even wisecracky, it's smart ass, and with emphasis on the smart part. The type of dude who'll insult you and you're not even sure what the fuck he just said to, and you have to piece it together in your brain and realize what he just called you. You know what I mean? That's like, and he carries himself with this intelligence. Jason Bateman, I believe. Now, granted, like in things like Arrested Development and stuff, like it's not always played up. You know, sometimes he dumbs it down. I remember he played a small bit in Dodgeball. You know, just saying how many great things this guy's been in, where he was just kind of playing a bro. And of course, and then in Zootopia, he was playing a very smart alecky, a very smart fox. So Jason Bateman has a way in which he carries himself that just kind of gives off intelligence. And the entire time I'm sitting there watching Ozark, because in this show, I don't want to spoil anything for you, I probably will end up reviewing it after I watched it. That show, Ozark, Jason Bateman, he has this kind of a cold, calculating demeanor to him, the way he thinks about things, the way he kind of, you know, the way his brain works. And the entire time I'm watching it, I'm like, you know something? He would be a perfect Reed Richards. He'd be a picture perfect Reed Richards. I mean, sure, he's 42 years old. I mean, not 42, he's 52 years old. But I mean, you can get around those things, because Reed Richards isn't so much of a fighter anyways. He likes to use his brain more than he likes to use his fighting abilities. And I just couldn't help myself but thinking, like, this guy would just be a perfect Reed Richards. And I know we're all fixated on John Krasinski, but as I said, I don't think they're gonna do John Krasinski. I think him being in the Multiverse of Madness was literally Marvel going, we heard you, but we're not gonna go that direction. But we heard you. It's literally Marvel kind of going, sorry guys. Like, that's what it felt like. Marvel just going, we're sorry guys, but we're not going that direction. That's what it felt like to me. Sorry guys, but we're not going in that direction. And, you know, to me personally, I'm just like, okay, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, obviously they could go, there's many directions they could go with this Reed Richards. They can cast, I've heard, stuff about like, John David Washington, and, you know, there's a lot of fucking people up for this Reed Richards role. But like I said, I don't know what happened to me. I was kind of inspired to make this video after watching the first couple episodes of Ozark. But like, I'm just watching Ozark and I'm just like, dude, Jason Bateman, he would be a fun Reed Richards, because you could just see him being kind of this super genius with this kind of a smart alecky, almost Tony Stark-esque, like, wit to him, with this kind of super genius, because he could be a bit more colder than Tony Stark. He'd probably be a bit more colder than Tony, because like Jason Bateman can play that aspect of like this cold, smart guy, and Reed Richards so often to be a very cold, smart guy. And I will say, very often with all the fan castings for him, including John Krasinski, I always was worried that they'd be too warm, because in my opinion, out of I would say four big scientists in the MCU, at least the four scientists that people think about, which is Tony Stark, Reed Richards, Hank Pym, and Bruce Banner, Reed is the coldest. Like, Reed can come off like a cold bastard sometimes. Like, he can. And then, like, he'll snap out of it, but you always get the vibe that if it wasn't, like, at least in every comic, and they kind of even alluded to this, they made a whole comic book series where Reed becomes a villain in it, where if it wasn't for Sue, Ben, and Johnny being around him all the time, and eventually his children, Reed could easily get lost in the science and become something close to Doom, basically. He would be Doom. Without them, he could easily go over that edge. And you need an actor who can kind of tackle, who can play both sides of it, be warm and funny and witty, but there's a coldness to him. And I think Jason Bateman, it's particularly in Ozark, because this is the first time, because this is what I see in Ozark, and I'm like, he has it. The ability to be kind of cold. You know, like to be caring, because you've seen him in things be caring, but the ability to be kind of cold and calculating and logical. And I was just like, dude, what if Marvel could get Jason Bateman? Like, I don't like I say, this is just me fan casting, this is me throwing it out there. But like, I do think he would make a great Reed Richards. Like I said, he's been in so many things that I've loved. You know, I think I thought he was fantastic in Zootopia. He's hilarious in not in Arrested Development. He's great. I loved him in Horrible Bosses. Like, he's been in so many good things, man. And he's doing a great job. And he did a great job in Ozark. So that is my updated new fan casting for Reed Richards. Jason Bateman. Yes, Arrested Development, Horrible Bosses, fucking the Fox from Zootopia, and Ozark's Bateman. If you want to get an idea of why I feel the way I do, watch like the first episode of Ozark and tell me there are elements in his performance that you're like, that would fit very well with Reed Richards. Anyways, thank you guys for watching Comic Game Movie Show. Please like, subscribe, and comment below. Who do you want to be Reed Richards in the MCU not named John Krasinski? There we go. Not named John Krasinski. Comment below and let me know. I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.